Welcome to Landline, the last real conversation. If you're under 30, we're what podcasts used to be before everybody started worrying about their brand. And if you're over 30, welcome home. Today's theme is whatever happened to the neighborhood hang. I thought about this because I grew up in a neighborhood in Maryland that was sort of like a time capsule. It seemed like it was from the 1950s where there was just a ton of kids for no reason. I don't know how everyone just got pregnant at the same time, but there were just a litter of children, and we were in this sort of pocket of a town in the middle of not such a great area, but for whatever reason, our town was like kind of sequestered off from the rest of the world. And it had this kind of Bedford Falls effect where all the neighborhood kids created this sort of mystical haven. Like we did things like parades and school plays and puppet shows and so I know this town, University Park, Maryland, it's a special, unique town, but also I think everybody has that sort of memory of going back and remembering, like, before internet, before everything, you could just get together. You know what I mean? Like that magical time when kids just existed outside with no agenda, where you'd walk out the door, find your people, and somehow by unspoken agreement, like the game would just start. For us, oftentimes it was a soccer game because there was a soccer field in the middle of town. And there were no schedules, no apps, no group chat confirmations, no parents, just presence. And I remember, and actually it's funny because there were no parents because the parents were always doing their own thing. Like I remember going to watch my dad play the other dads play soccer. It wasn't like leagues or anything intense the way I feel like it now. Like there are adult, soccer clubs and baseball team and whatever, but like this was real low budget. And I remember it was very clear, like these are all just friends getting together to play. They were very intense and everyone would start screaming at each other, but it felt just like, oh, these are taller kids playing. And there was one time in the town that we played Capture the Flag, the kids, and I think we were like in middle school, and it lasted for days. Apparently something happened. So I don't remember this, but I remember other kids talking to me about it. And they were saying, we like put it on pause to go back to school, and somehow like the county police like helped. Maybe they like helped make sure no one took the flags or like they enforced the rules, but all the parents like just let complete havoc reign. And there were, like 100 kids. I reached out to my friends from that time, and because I still know them, like we're all so codependent and weird. I love it. I still am friends with the people I've known since kindergarten. And I asked them, like, do you guys remember this one Capture the Flag game? And immediately everyone remembered. They all had a specific memory from it. One kid was like, I used to drive by for 10 years hoping kids were still playing Capture the Flag there. Someone else reminded me that apparently we would play Capture the Flag after what's called cotillion. And cotillion, for those of you who don't know, is a very awkward social gathering that children of a certain age go to learn how to dance. For me, it was my one opportunity to touch boys. I was very prudish. I still am, I guess. And so it was like flirtation galore. But I think for all other kids, it was just a huge pain in the butt. And I can't believe anyone did it. I don't understand what the draw was for anybody else. Anyway, so there was just something so awesome about no one's trying to photograph the event, make it look good, make sure that everyone's feeling included, make sure that, it's a rain date and how this works without it. Just, you show up And if you don't show up this time, you'll show up next time. And I feel like as adults, we never get that. So I was researching, what's going on with adults these days and what's going on with socializing. And we want to have community, but we're all, messed up. By the way, can you tell I'm speaking awkwardly because I'm trying to say like less and swear less, and it's just all over the place. Also, I'm on Benadryl because I have a really monster cold, and it's freaking me out, guys. We're going to pause on the whole topic of the thing for a minute so I can freak out. So I'm sober and I don't take anything. So taking Benadryl is like ruining my life right now. It is messing me up so much. I don't know how to handle it. And I just feel it's affecting me so much. I feel so out of it. If I don't I've been trying not to take it and I end up getting this dang headache of congestion. I'm definitely not taking anything like NyQuil or Dayquil because next thing I know, I'll just be in an alley doing heroin or something. So today has been today has been a rough week. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Not doing great. Didn't do any makeup, just fell asleep on my hair, came here. I look, let's say subpar, but we're here. We're doing it. Hold on. We are getting a call. Hello?
Ring-a-ling.
Hello, you've reached Landline.
Oh my God.
Hi, I know who this is. Otherwise, I would say, who is this? Do you want to identify yourself? Or should we come up with a fake name?
Susie.
Susie, thank you so much for calling in. Do you have a story or a question or advice you'd like to give?
Okay, so this topic of what happened to the 3-day-long capture the flag. Yeah, I feel like it's twofold. One, we're so distracted. I think me included. I almost got hit by a car looking at my phone the other day. We're so distracted. We're not even present. And then twofold, I think of my sister. Actually, it's good I'm using a nom de plume. I think of my sister and my niece, and she can't let her out of her sight for 2 seconds.
Yeah. Helicopter parenting.
Helicopter parenting. And I'm not a parent, and I'm sorry to all the parents who are doing their best out there in the streets. But yeah.
No, I agree. No, so this is something I was just thinking about because I was about to kind of go into, I was briefly having a meltdown about how I'm on Benadryl. And then I was going to go into I did, some minimal research this week for this episode. And why is it that not only do kids today not have that kind of hangout, but why did we as adults stop having these sort of impromptu hangouts? And in a way, sure, it's the obvious, we're adults, we're busy. But there are so many other weird competing factors that have to do with fear, I think. Fear. And it can be small things like post-COVID. I feel like the world never really bounced back. And it just has had this kind of, I was walking around the other day and people were still wearing masks. And it's whoa, okay. And then I think the fear of coordination and offending or isolating, in a way, the helicopter parenting, we're doing it to ourselves.
Oh my gosh, mic drop. Absolutely. That was going to be my question, is exactly that. How do I stop helicopter parenting myself and have some fucking fun? Excuse me.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this is an excellent thing that you add. We're getting right to the point here, which is I think there was a freedom when we were kids, and now I'm getting specific to our generation. Or I'll say my generation. I was born in the 80s. When you're a kid, you're sort of an idiot and you don't think about time. You don't understand actions and consequences, right? Because you haven't been alive long enough to understand how that works. As we get older, we become very afraid of consequences. And in some sense, that is good. It's the way you learn, like, oh, if I put my hand on the stove and it burns, I should learn not to do that anymore. But in the wake of this technology that, like, my generation in particular grew up in the middle of, we watched sort of a free space of exploration turn into something that's chiseled in stone. So everything is cataloged, everything is scrutinized, whether it's online or whether it's, something goes viral or you send it across the whole neighborhood, instead of just someone writes a note to another friend and says, do you want to play soccer after? And whoever happens to get in touch with them in time goes to the soccer game.
Yeah.
And like, if some,
You'd actually call and you'd say, hey, can Meredith hang out today?
right. And like, I feel like I remember, first of all, did your mom make you answer the phone a certain way? Because my parents did.
Kind of.
I had,
Manners and such.
yes, I had to do, hello, Headland residents. This is Inga speaking. It was a lot.
I mean, look at you today.
I know I feel like that cuts both ways. So I think a lot of it is like just kind of realizing nobody cares insofar as it being like, just, it's okay to mess up. Like, I have no idea how bad this show is, and I'm assuming it's pretty bad. But I knew if I kept thinking,
Kind of bad. It's so bad it's good. I love it so much.
and like,
It was all my.
where it's like, but I knew if I kept thinking about it or working on it, like, I would just never do it. So I'm doing it. It's fine, whatever. And if I get over myself, I'm not going to be embarrassed about it, because at most, what did I do? A kind of crappy, I'm calling it a TV show, not podcast, because we're working on branding.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but where it's like, okay, so at worst, that's what you did. Who cares? We used to do stuff like that all the time as kids. And it was like, oh, okay, I had a birthday party. No one came. Whoops, that was hard. You cry, and then you go to school the next day, and like, nobody cares.
Right. It's like those memes that compare, like, or videos or whatever they are, where it's like me with my friends in school, and it's like these like blurry, just messy, like being goofy and not attractive, just silly, and then flash to today, and it's like, you gotta like be on, and
Yeah.
I mean, I feel it. I'm in bed. I just ate a bowl of mac and cheese. It's a lot.
It is, girl. It is. Well, thank you so much for calling in. This was awesome.
I love you.
All right. Love you too. Bye, girl. All right. That was awesome. Okay, cool. So I think a big part is just like, look, sometimes stuff works, sometimes it doesn't, but like, let's just try and go lo-fi. I remember once my ex-husband and I really wanted to have a holiday party, and I think we'd only been married for 2 years, so this had to be like over 15 years ago. And I said, oh, and we had no money. Side note, everyone should be poor for a while. It's character building. It's wonderful. Happiest times I ever was when I was broke as hell. Being poverty stricken, not fun, but being broke, awesome. Oh, hold on. We're getting another call. Hi, you've reached Landline.
Landline, I have a comment. I think Monopoly is one of the best games in the entire world, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
It shakes out the winners and the losers.
Ooh.
And it strengthens or destroys relationships that should or should not be strengthened. And I love it.
Wait, can you give me an example?
There has never been a better example than doing it with family who you've only met for a couple of minutes 10 years ago, and you see what kind of person they are, and you see what kind of cards they're playing, because you can gauge a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you can find out about a person's life, their choices, the way they handle stress. I once bankrupted my own mother-in-law, and then I built up a whole bunch of houses on the red, and then I bankrupted my brother-in-law, and my wife got upset. She was my fiance at the time. She got upset. She said, "Why are you trying to win this game?" I said, "That's the whole point of the game."
Did you win?
Oh my God, I love you guys. I did win. Every single time I play, I never failed to lose at Monopoly.
Hell yeah, man. Awesome. Thanks for calling in, man. That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Love you guys.
All right. Love you too. Bye. Funny story about Monopoly. I played Monopoly the other day with some friends, and this is like a good example of a group hang. I have these two neighbors that I really like, Chris and Devin. And my boyfriend and I, he is very introverted, my boyfriend. And so I've been trying, like, it's when we do get-togethers, it's like a little bit like pulling teeth. But he really likes these neighbors. So they came over and we decided to play Monopoly. But the only Monopoly that we had was Monopoly with credit cards. Like, it didn't have the paper money. There was some sort of like credit card situation. Like, there was like a calculator that you put fake debit cards into. And we played it for, it has to be at least an hour. And then someone accidentally tapped the credit card machine wrong and the batteries fell out and the whole game was erased. Like, there's no saving. There's no auto save. So everyone was just back to zero. Our guest, Chris, was not happy. The rest of us were like, "Oh, we're fine going home." And he was like, "Why did we just do that then?" So, Monopoly, I have affection for it. Definitely stick with the old school traditional Monopoly though, if I'm going to give any pro tips during this podcast. I had a friend when I brought up this topic about the infamous capture the flag day. I asked her if she remembered it, and she's actually a friend of mine who I met in kindergarten in Maryland in University Park, and she lives here in Nashville. And she sent me a photo of a short story she wrote about, it's actually dodgeball, but apparently we had a very intense dodgeball league that we started with the kids in the town. And so she sent me a photo of the story. I'll put this up afterwards so that everyone can see, because it's pretty incredible. Like, this is what I'm talking about, man. Having to write this stuff out, it's amazing. And clearly she did her math homework on top of it. All right, I'm going to read it to you guys because it's awesome. Dodgeball by town. For, I like that it's dedicated, for Caroline, Laura, Aaron, Patty, someone's name who got crossed out with black marker. That's Bird. That's a bird, man. Inga, Anne, Jenny, David, Omaro, Eric, Ryan, and the rest of the, quote, dodgeball patriots who put up with the team captains and the awful fights during our 5th grade recesses. Here's the story. Team captain. You were captain yesterday. Let someone else have a turn. Fine. I get first pick. Eric, Patty, Caroline, David. Move. You're good. I don't want to be hit. That's the point of the game. Bozo, throw the ball. I'm deciding who to hit. Well, hurry. We don't have forever. Hey, you have more people. So give us a player so that we'll have more. No, come on. Fine. Hey. What? No, you gave us a bad player. I'm not a bad player. R2, am not. Brimming. I don't know what that means. Look what you did. Oh, I bet it's bring for the bell ring. Look what you did. Now recess is over and we didn't even start the stupid game. Amazing. Story had everything you wanted. Hopes. Built. Dashed. I really want to know whose name got crossed out because that's so funny. I think one of the nicest things about the story is it shows that human nature never changes, and we have always been little assholes. And even when kids are dicks to each other, they can still be friends forever because pretty much everyone in that like dedication line is still friends with each other. So, there is a voicemail. I think it might be from the person who just called, but I'm going to play that because as we're rounding out the half hour, we're going to do this so that we can make sure everything gets knocked off. Okay.
Landline, I love you guys. I just have a quick comment. I think Andrew Tate should be under the prison. Not in prison, but under the prison. The government in a European country has allowed him and his brother, frauds of the earth, to leave the country and fly back to the United States pending the end of their court matter. It's a damn shame. It's a slap in the face to all of the people and women who suffered under the tyranny of these frauds. And if we had any integrity left in this country, we would not only arrest them, but we would never allow them to see the light of day. Uncle Sam is rolling in his grave.
Okay. I actually have no idea what he's talking about. I assume something with Andrew Tate happened. I'm still catching up on who Andrew Tate is. I've been thinking about how people get really invested in people they don't know. Like, okay, so obviously Andrew Tate seems like a jerk, right? But actually, no, I shouldn't say that. Like, I don't know. Maybe you think he's awesome. Maybe his mother's watching right now and she's like, thinks he's great. But either way, if I form any opinion about him, it's kind of stupid because I don't know him. And I think in the day, like this kind of goes back to the technology thing. We live in an age where there's a simulation of familiarity that comes from frequently seeing images of prominent people who are in the news a lot, people who are in, the media a lot. And our brain can't help but start to think we know them. It familiarizes, like that's just part of like a neurological process that happens or neurochemical. And so we feel confident making conclusions about people and their behavior or what we think about them. But at the end of the day, like we don't know what the hell we're talking about. So it's very possible, like, I have no idea what's going on. It's very possible I would agree factually with, our caller being like, there's something happening that whatever. But I'm realizing to get angry is sort of silly because I don't know I don't know Andrew Tate and I will never interact with him. I can have beliefs and I do have beliefs that I stand by, and I can try to think about political or judicial moves. I mean, maybe I also am like a little bit, I guess, okay, this is where the Benadryl's kicking in. I'm taking on too large a topic. Because I want to make it clear, like, I don't know anything about this dude, but it seems like he's like a real dick. But I feel like getting upset about people that I don't know doesn't really help anybody. So I think it's interesting. I think this is an interesting moment for Landline of like, well, how do we deal with current events and how do we move forward from it? So, hey man, first of all, I'm glad you let it out. I hope you just let it out on our voicemail, not on, like loved ones. Like that actually is the main thing I want for our voicemail to be if people are PO'd. Dude, just get mad at the voicemail. Because we ruin way too many dinner parties and way too many, bringing it back to the theme, adult hangs with thoughts about politics. Guys, just hang out. If you're mad, if you're mad about someone that you don't know, just call and vent on Landline. That's what we're for, because you've ruined so many dinners. Like, you've ruined so many holidays. You've ruined so many baby showers. Just call, complain on here. We'll play it on the air. You'll know your opinion got out, and maybe Andrew Tate will hear it one day. But you don't need to have, your mom's Thanksgiving turkey be ruined over the fact that you screamed at everybody and now she's crying. All that said, I think I love this caller. I think he's my favorite person. What he said about Monopoly, that was awesome. That is hysterical. Playing board games with in-laws is the real deal. Like, I remember when I met my former father-in-law, I punched him in the face first time we played a board game. Like, it brings out the best and the worst in us. Okay, so I'm fading fast. I think I'm starting to sweat. Man, I'm pretty sure I'm getting a fever. It's funny that I brought up COVID and masks before. And I don't know, I probably have a giraffe virus or something. I don't know why I said giraffe. I was just trying to think. I used to say as a joke, a monkey virus. And then it turned out there was a real monkey virus. So I was trying to just think of another innocuous animal. Anyway, so I'm probably going to hang out with some friends tonight. If I'm not, actually, no, I don't know, because I'm sick now and I've been very publicly sick. So maybe it's not a good idea for me to. But the plan was I was going to hang out with some friends tonight and just wing it, man. Just wing hanging out. And I encourage all of you this weekend, just hang out, stick your head out the window, shout at someone passing by, just sit on your front porch, get to know your neighbors, and just hang out. And if a hot topic gets brought up and you get frustrated, literally, unless you're talking about someone you know personally where there's actually something constructive you can do about it, keep it to yourself, call and vent on Landline. Because we're all about making the group hangs again. Oh, also, if you live in Nashville, I've been checking out Switch Yards, which is awesome. And they have this little periodical, yeah. And Landline's going to be in that. Switch Yards is a co-work place, which is awesome. They are not sponsoring me. I'm just talking about it. I like them. Also, there's this bar that has these sober nights called Gramps. I think I'm going to be checking that out on Tuesdays. They collaborate with this cool company called Killjoy. So people are doing it. People are getting out there. People are looking to just meet and hang out. It's not exactly capture the flag level, but we're doing it a bit at a time. So we're all doing our part. Guys, stay safe this weekend. Don't hang out with me because I'm sick. And yeah, love the callers. Love all of you guys. And talk to you next week. Bye.